Have you ever wondered how healing deep family wounds could unlock your true potential? Or how reconnecting with your ancestral roots might transform your life? Today on Soul Desire, we are joined by Candice Rebollo, a psychic medium and healer who will guide us through this transformative process of ancestral healing. Tune in to discover the powerful impact that embracing your heritage can have on your spiritual journey.
This is your space, your sacred time. Soul desire ignites with every rhyme. Feel the balance, let your spirit soar. In this moment, find what you're looking for.
Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome back to another episode of Soul Desire. Whether you're a long-time listener or just tuning in for the first time, I'm Rebecca, your host. I'm so incredibly grateful to have you here with me on this amazing journey. Today, I'm so excited to introduce to you Candice Rebollo, a truly inspiring guest. Candice is a psychic medium and business healer who has made it her mission to help women break free from corporate restraints and transforming their spiritual gifts into thriving soul-aligned businesses. She's the founder of Ancestral Alignments, a super powerful healing process that mends deep family wounds and activates intuition. Candice herself is all about empowering women to create offerings that resonate with their true purpose, scaling their businesses and achieving the financial freedom they dream of. She's also on a mission to shine a light on some of the darker corners of the spiritual community, teaching women how to protect their energy and reclaim their power. Through her impactful work, Candice inspires women to step into their highest calling and making a lasting difference in the world. I'm so thrilled to dive into her insights and stories, and I know you're going to find so much value in what she has to share. Let's get started and give a warm welcome to Candice on the Soul Desire podcast. You won't want to miss a moment of this inspirational conversation. Hi, Candice. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Rebecca. I am so excited to be here and honored and excited to just connect with you in person because we found each other, in the digital world on Threads, and so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, yes, I know. It's so amazing. Before we actually started this interview, we got to catch up a little bit, and I think we came to agree that this is divine timing and it's meant to be. And I'm so happy.
Yes.
You have so much wisdom. I know when I read your threads, it was about ancestral healing and root causes. And I resonated so deeply with this, and it just connected to me. So there was no other way than to connect to you and just pick your brain for a couple of minutes.
Please pick my brain. I can talk about this stuff all day. Once you get me started, I won't shut up. So
that's amazing. Just throw it at us. It's amazing. So would you mind explaining to the people and the listeners who never heard about ancestral healing what this is actually?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So I created a method called Ancestral Alignments. Ancestral Alignments it's kind of like modern family constellation work for people who might know what family constellation work is. If you don't, it's okay. It's basically a profound way to bring up the roots of certain traumas or certain issues within your life. And it's almost always connected to an ancestral story. A family trauma, a lineage wound that has yet to be healed. And so this thing happening in your life that you don't like or you see as a challenge is oftentimes a message from your ancestors and the movement of a cycle, of a lesson, of a pattern that's been trying to get through the lineage for a long time. But most of us don't know how to connect to our ancestors or to that deeper intuition. So the patterns have to showcase themselves in our lives, in our family systems. And this is the whisper of all of the generations before us trying to say, hey, knocking on the door, like, work this thing out, please. And the knock will get louder and louder and louder if it needs to. But this form of ancestral healing combines mediumship, combines somatic work, and it combines family constellation work. And it was birthed out of me because I was using all of these methods for healing in myself. And one day it just like hit me. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to put it all together. They're not separate things, they're all one. So I just started to do this work with clients, and then it turned into a certification course. And then it just like became this thing that I was known for, and that was completely transforming my life, my clients' lives, students. And so I was like, okay, well, I'm onto something here with this thing. And it's beautiful. It's snowballed. So many of my clients use this work in their practices too. And it's hands down my favorite method. It gets to the root of things like nothing else I know. We clear so many levels of things. Sometimes you're not able to manifest because you have a stuck ancestor on the other side who died in a very traumatic way and never got the chance to transition properly. Sometimes we have ancestors who didn't do great things. Sometimes we have ancestors who were murderers, who were unfortunately child molesters too. And those things need to be rectified energetically for the descendants to live full, healed, happy, healthy lives. We have to address these things so we stop the victim and victimization, victimization patterns within our lives.
Wow. So it's basically you are connected to the karma of your ancestors.
Absolutely. We all are. We are all intrinsically, without even needing to try, connected to our ancestors. You couldn't take that connection away if you tried.
Wow.
If you have a human with DNA, you have a connection to your ancestry, and you have a potent and powerful space to heal and clear, but also be activated. So just as many wounds as there are, there's also gifts. There's dormant gifts in your genetic system, in your family as well. And they get unlocked when you do the shadow side of the work that I do.
Oh, so it's a two-way road, basically. You don't just get the bad and horrible things, but you get their powers, their skills, and everything as well, and their energy.
Oh, yes. There's hidden things. There's things they've overcome. There's things they did with their lives that oftentimes you don't know. And you can use that same energy that they used to overcome challenges and adversities. And you'll find that you can use that very same tenacity and channel it into something profound, like really profound.
Oh, amazing. So how many ancestors are there? How can you, it's basically just your close family, or is this, I heard it's like a family tree. Are they all connected to you, or just a certain people?
They're all connected to you. I wish I could say, it's only the immediate ones or those we know. It goes far beyond that because and the things that I've cleared from my clients, I mean, there would be no way for them to know these ancestors whose stories are still playing out in their lives because we've tuned into the energy of it. We've seen it. I mean, it goes back hundreds of years, so we carry the stories and the genetic imprinting of ancestors that we don't even know. We don't even know them, but it's still their stories, their experiences are still vibrating within our genetic code. And what that means is then your body and your being is going to express that code physically in your life. Nothing is a mistake. Nothing is a mistake. Not the relationships you choose, not the work you choose. Even if you don't like those things, it's not a mistake. It's something that's there in your life to show and present to you what needs shifting, what needs changing. So I've cleared so many things, and I have, as of right now, I've not seen a timestamp to when the impact of the ancestors stops and starts. It's just like this endless loop. It's like fractal patterning, it never ends.
Wow.
Because once you start clearing on a certain level, and let's say have cleared as much as I have, then you start to see you're doing it not just at an ancestral level, you're doing it at a collective global consciousness level. Now we're working at the realm of human collective traumas and the cycles that humanity has been stuck in for eons, and the cycles we keep repeating. Once you clear enough of your ancestry, then it's like, then the next plateau is the global stuff. How we're all connected together in that way. We're talking about like the real evolution of consciousness with this work. That's why I love it so much.
Thank you for mentioning this, because this was in my mind. I was like, wait a minute, we're connected to our ancestors, to our closer circle, and then the bigger circle, and then more. And at one point, we're connected to
Exactly.
all humanity
Exactly.
ever on Earth right now and before Earth. And at some point,
Correct.
after
Correct.
our existence as well, because it's somehow already in the making.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I
That's
couldn't agree
incredible.
more. I couldn't agree more, because I see this work as it's for my present, but it's also for my descendants, those that will come after me. And it's certainly for the ancestors before me who didn't have the means, the knowledge, the wisdom to do the work that I now have the privilege to do.
Yes, it feels like you're the crossroad. You're changing your ancestral stories right now by having this knowledge and being the first who breaks the cycle.
Correct. And the cycle breakers, I really feel people listening need to hear this. The cycle breakers are not always going to have the most joyous time. In fact, you might look around and feel like you have a crappier time than most, even many of your family members, or you might feel like down in the dumps around a lot of things. That's typically because you chose, and you can clear the very things that you're feeling as this extreme heaviness, as this harshness, as this pattern that's really difficult for a lot of people to bear. These things are given to you for a reason, and it really, this work really helps you make peace with all of your pain, all of your trauma. I mean, all of it. You know, the things that are taboo, the things that society doesn't like to look at and touch on. These are the things that come through ancestral alignments all the time. We have to release these things. We have to let these things go.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's common knowledge that if you're the first, you have it the hardest, because you're basically going a different way, a different route. It's easy if you're in the railroad everybody else takes. But if you're going your own way,
Yeah.
it's kind of bumpy at first until you get over the hump. And then, so yeah, thank you for pointing this out, because a lot of people need to know this, especially if you're right now on the verge of breaking the cycle. I feel like
Exactly.
everything comes down and you feel kind of confused, lost,
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
seen. And there's nobody you can turn to, because your family, they're going the old ways, and they maybe even judging you for doing something new.
Yeah. Yeah. Black sheep vibes all day. Like this is where a lot of people get fearful. And this is what I feel like my business is really meant to help fill the pocket of. This level of generational growth will strip you bare. You will be stripped of all the old beliefs that you thought you were, who you thought you were, who you had to be, what you had to do for money, everything. Everything will be stripped from you, and you will be ostracized, and you will not have support. You will feel so alone. And it's a test. It's a test. Part of that, you're meant to go through that, but then also part of that is we're meant to build the exact communities that we needed when we were going through really hard times. And so I look back on my journey and oh my God, I mean, the things I went through, I will write a book one day soon, but the things that I've gone through are just so intense. I look back on my journey and sometimes I'm like, the fact that I'm even here and alive and present and grounded here and now thriving with a business, like it blows my mind. It blows my mind. I would have never thought I manifested this life 3 to 5 years ago, even. You know, in that pocket, things were really, really, really hard for me. But I got through, and I got through it with this work right here. So I know it works, and I know it transforms lives.
Amazing. And we're thankful that you pulled through. So what can you tell people who are right now in this situation where they are really, really stuck and they are doubting and they are fearful? What is something they can do right now to keep on going and pushing through?
I need those people to understand, yes, we're taking responsibility for our lives in our patterns. And yes, things in our lives can sometimes go to crap and things can feel really hard. But at the same time, you need to understand how to zoom out and see the bigger picture of things, and that a lot of these patterns that you're cycling through, they don't even belong to you. Most human beings right now are not even living in their full soul truth because there's so much karma that needs to be cleared just to catch up to where your soul wants you to meet it. So you have to understand, when you are in that space of drowning, and I've been there numerous times, it's typically not fully yours. And you need to understand there's a bigger thing going on. There's a bigger thing trying to be cleared in your lineage through you. And when you can understand it, mind, body, spirit, you can let it go. And when you can feel through it and understand what this pattern has been trying to show you, you will get it. It will click and it releases. This releases entities. This releases dark attachments. Again, it clears stuck ancestors. And some of you people are out here feeling depressed because you have ancestors who can't cross over and they're just trying to connect with you. And every time they connect with you, they're stuck. So they make you feel stuck. So then everyone's in this cycle of just stuck. And you just have no idea that it's your dead ancestor, your dead Aunt Sally trying to be like, help me. And then you're processing all of her pain because Aunt Sally can't move on. And now we're just in this endless cycle of everyone's just knocking on everyone's door, but with a broken basket of goodies. We just need to weave the basket and it'll be good again. It'll be good again. We're talking about genetic code upgrades. Junk DNA is not a thing, by the way. That's a complete false distortion that let's just call them that they will push onto people to make you believe that you're somehow worthless or you're junk or that these parts of you don't mean anything. Everything is your genetic code, your beingness is so incredible. You have no idea. So I think that's what I want them to know. Don't get lost in the drowning. Okay. I know we all have to go through these things, especially right now on this planet, but there's something more. There's something more behind that pain, and it's bigger. If you can just wait it out, if you could just, get yourself the resources and the help to clear these things out energetically, ancestrally, you'll be good to go soon enough. Trust me.
Thank you. That's so wonderful. And I love that you pointed out this junk DNA because I feel the same way like you do. People just say it's junk because I think there's an on and off switch to activate this DNA.
Correct.
Just because you couldn't find the switch doesn't mean it's junk.
Exactly. And the switch is the untold stories. Why do you think our ancestors gathered around fires and told stories? Stories activate DNA. When we tell the untold stories of your genetic code, of your ancestors, we will activate you into higher awareness, into higher aspects of what your soul's trying to do and complete in this lifetime. So this stuff around sitting around the fire and thinking it's just kumbaya, the ancestors have a wisdom that we're just starting to touch on. We're just starting to touch on it.
That's amazing. So if somebody has maybe ancestors that weren't able to move over, or if ancestors even got cursed, is this something you can remove or you can help them to cross over?
Oh, yes. I cross over stuck ancestors in my sleep. Literally. But this is exactly how we do it through ancestral alignments. I can do it through mediumship as well. But ancestral alignments is a very potent way to do it because it's difficult to explain other than you really have to experience it, because once you do, you really get it, that it clears the ancestors who are stuck. It elevates your spirit. It helps bring in the new replacement belief that now is implanted as the other one needed to be dumped to allow that loved one to cross over. So it's this whole out with the old, in with the new elevation process. And yes, we get to identify the specifics of why certain things in your family happen, from you feeling anxious, depressed, even schizophrenia, alcoholism, substance abuse, sexual trauma. These things all have to do with your lineage. And many lineages did, many of our ancestors, unfortunately, because a lot of stuff was, a lot of ancestral wisdom was stripped from them. A lot of them did turn to black magic. So when you have a generation of ancestors who use a lot of black magic, those dark attachments, they stay in the lineage. That breeds, entity attachments, demonic attachments too. And these are inherited. We inherit spiritual energy from our ancestors, y'all. Like, that's something people need to understand. We inherit what they had attached to them. So we need to really do like a clean sweep of the lineage. And once we identify the belief that is keeping you in alignment with inheriting those dark attachments, you're cleared. Like, we crack your code, literally. We crack your genetic code. And now you've cleared that thing. Now you get to go and manifest the other stuff that you're meant to do in this lifetime.
Wow. So you basically help them to do one house cleaning and start stacking back in what they need, because it feels like this is hindering people from their full potential. Maybe they come with a purpose on this earth, but they're not able to fulfill this purpose because of the lineage, maybe which was cursed, maybe was dark energy in there involved, or just limiting beliefs, trauma.
All of that. And then some. And the thing is too, the system we live in, that perpetuates the cycles of these traumatic events on purpose. They know that. So they know if they traumatize the people, they will keep them stuck and stop them from ascending. And they'll stop them from evolving into the beings that we're meant to be. To really, humans, we need to get on with the show. Like, we need to take our rightful place amongst the stars already. We need to claim who and what we want to be as a collective. And none of us can get on the same page because we all have systemic trauma. And when you clear the trauma, you can understand yourself and humanity from a different, brighter, more holistic perspective, and be okay and at peace with everything that's happened to you and them and everything that was done to you, no matter how terrible it is, because I've been through some terrible things. So have my clients. There's always a way. These things wouldn't happen, and you wouldn't have the thought or the awareness of the possibility of healing if you couldn't.
Mm-hmm. True. I totally feel you, and I think the soul tells you when it's time to heal. It tells you, okay, you're now the whistleblower, and now you're going to heal every trauma for the next lineage, for your children. So if you are going to marry somebody, are you able to basically transform your lineage to this person as well?
That's such a good question. That is such a good question. And I'm really glad you asked it, because this is why this work helps you become very hyper aware of who you spend your time with and who you want to open yourself up to in a relationship, right? Because we really are. We're taking on our lineage and then theirs. Everything undealt with. This is why relationships, I believe, are really tricky right now and hard, because the field and Earth is trying to move through humanity all the old stories that need to be cleared. And trying to do that while in a relationship with another human being can be so triggering. It is so triggering. So I think a lot of relationships suffer because of this. But yes, and this is especially true for women, because especially when women are having sex with someone, right? They're taking on their energy from their womb, and women will hold on to the energy of their partners in their womb. And because of who and what women are, which is natural transmuters, we are portals to life and death. So their patterns will start to work through you if they're not in a space to be able to work on it themselves. And then this is where you can really easily get caught up in codependent relationships, because you're taking on all of their stuff, even without trying. You're just opening your body to them, right? You think you're engaging in like these intimate moments, which can be fun, right? And I'm not pushing like purity culture or anything. Like, of course, do what feels aligned in your heart, but just know these things are very real, and you have to clear yourself from people who aren't in alignment with your highest soul good, especially if you're opening your body to them. You have to clear these attachments because they will work through you as if it's yours when it's not even yours. So that's another added layer. And this happens more to women than it does to men. It does happen to men too, but not as frequently as I see it happening to women. Again, the womb and having a womb is just like a magnet to all the things that need to be transformed to birth something new. Women, we don't just birth babies, we birth ideas, we birth spiritual lessons, we birth potent soul activations for our entire families. We birth businesses, we birth insight, we birth psychic information, right? We're a well of wisdom and intuitive power here. So gotta be careful with that because we are so sensitive that the womb is just like, it'll pick up anything. It's just like, it wants to correct everything in its environment. So we have to be very mindful who we marry, who we sleep with, who we lay with. Yeah, it takes a lot of awareness.
I love that you just said this. And I love that you touched on the idea of divine feminine energy, because I think this is a lot part of this. It's really incredible. I didn't know. So we have to really be cautious about who is in our environment, because what we let in, we ultimately integrate and transfer. Thank you for pointing this out again. So what can you do once you have this energy? Because I feel like a lot of us just went through their past relationships and we're like, oh, yikes, there was somebody. And how can they get rid of this? How can they clean this out?
Yeah, well, ancestral alignments, my method does that very profoundly. And it's not the only way. There's 1,000 ways to do that, literally. And I use many methods too. I do it again through mediumship, through connecting with my guides and connecting with the leftover energy that is between myself and that person. And it's not only through intimacy, y'all. I've had to do this with family members, with friends, with old colleagues, with former business partners. It's not just, people you've had sex with. So ancestral alignments, hands down, is the top way to do that for me. But I do it through mediumship as well. I do it through a process called inner dance, which is basically like sound meditation as well. Sound is a really, really potent way to clear these things. Breath work, somatic therapy, kundalini, yoga, right? Everyone's going to have a little bit of a different way that works great for them. But I see the method of all methods at being able to do this, the ancestral alignments, because it doesn't matter what you're working through. It could be a business goal. It could be a breakup. It could be a divorce. It could be a creative block. It could be your fear of being seen. It doesn't matter what you bring to the table with ancestral alignments, you're going to get a powerful clearing.
Oh, awesome. I love that you just pointed out that there are a couple of ways, because obviously not everybody resonates with the same, but ancestral alignment and healing is so powerful. I think it's not just removing this energy, but you heal at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
I have another question, because this just came. Guides, you said you ask your guides. Are your guides your ancestors as well?
Some of them, absolutely. Some of them are my ancestors, and some of them are future versions of myself, as I have found out as well. So that brings up an interesting question, right? It's like, if an evolved version of my own consciousness can come back and help me through what I'm going through, as well as my ancestors, that means, time isn't necessarily linear.
Yeah.
That means my ancestors could be my descendants, and I could still be their descendant. And then there's a descendant after me coming back and helping me too. It's like, what is time? Where is time? It's more cyclical and circular, really like a spiral. And my bracelet, I have a little sigil with a spiral on it. And it's for that reason. Time is like a spiral, and the spiral, right? There are parts of the spiral as we're going through, we're walking past the old things that we once passed, right? But it's not in the same way. So in a sense, our guides can be that. They can be our future selves. They can be our past selves. And the ancestors are us too, guys. We are also the ancestors. That's the funny part. It's like they're our ancestors, but we're also them. Like I'm the ancestor and so are you, but we're still guided by them. And so it's just like this powerful yin and yang, as above, so below. You know, we're growing both up and down at the same time. It's like this whole dichotomy and oxymoron of like, what is life? How is this stuff really moving through us? There's not necessarily a clear black and white to this, you know?
I really love this. So your higher self, or your highest self even, is helping you to evolve into the person you're meant to be, while your ancestor guides will stand by for the earthly manners. And we have angel guides as well, who help us with the angelic realm, the spiritual realm. And you have basically a entourage, a squad of your besties helping you. Everybody's with you.
Yes. That is the best way I've ever heard it described. It is absolutely an entourage. And when you learn to work with them, they will ride for you no matter what. They will have your back. They will be there. They will help you through things. Even the times where I look back and I felt so alone and scared, I look back energetically. I'm like, oh my God, I was so protected. I was so safe. I was so held. They were right there the whole time. I just didn't necessarily know how to ask at the time or know what I was moving through and so afraid, but you're never alone. You're never alone. You're always assigned someone in spirit. They're watching us. They're watching us. We are protected. And the more we become aware of that, the more we rise.
That's beautiful. So one question, because you said they're all rooting for you, and I totally believe that. But we all know this from family gathers. Thanksgiving is around the corner. So we all have this stinky Uncle Larry, or who else it is, who's just always bothered by everything. It's just mean. Is this in the ancestrals as well, that they're just against you?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Remember, there's dark and there's light. There are loving ancestors and there are hating ones too. Okay. Remember, like not that long ago, I cleared from my client. I've never seen this before. It was so potent and powerful to witness this. I've never seen this. She had to actually denounce her ancestors. She had to denounce them. And then that was the thread that I had shared, that where we connected. She had to denounce her ancestors because her ancestors were, and this is like all of them on her father's side, they were a part of a religious cult that was turning a blind eye against pedophilia happening to the children. And so, you know, the entire lineage can rain down on you and feel like, shut up, don't talk about these things, don't start this healing journey, don't start doing this and that because you're going to kick up old dirt. That's exactly the dirt you're supposed to kick up, because you have to clear these things. So she had to denounce her ancestors because they were not willing to shift. They were energetically hiding behind crosses and religious dogma, and they would not actually own the real trauma that was caused from them turning a blind eye against everything. So, yeah, she actually had to shield herself from those ancestors. And it's not to say that she'll need to do this forever. Maybe the energy will continue to shift and change as she does, as she claims more sovereignty. But it became very clear that there was a very distinct boundary that needed to be placed there. And that was incredible. That was incredible to watch. And remember, every time something is cleared, something comes, loving comes to replace it. And because I had never seen the denouncing of ancestors happen in a lineage before, it was an extreme case, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The earth came and brought all around her these beautiful, powerful earthly ancestors that were protectors of women and children, that were the righteous ones, that were the ancestors who walked with integrity, that were the healers, that were those who knew right from wrong and trusted that and rode with that. And it's like, you know, just like this firm, it was so powerful and earthly and grounded and like, oh, it felt so good. And she felt that too. And it brought us both to tears. It's like, this is the healing that's really, the earth wants us to get rid of these things. The earth does not like these patterns here also. Just so everyone is aware of that. The earth will support you in this work because the earth is tired of these patterns. She's watching the same things play out too. For how long? You don't think she's tired of it as well? She is.
Oh, definitely.
She wants it gone as well. So she brings support. The earth will support you.
Wow, this was so powerful. I got the chills. I got this energy surge through me. I felt it when you just shared the story. Thank you. It's incredible because just before you mentioned this, I was like, oh my God, now she's lonely and she's unprotected because she has nobody in her corner. But it's like with children, when a child is parentless, somebody's stepping in and they're taking care of it.
Yes, exactly.
I love that.
Exactly. So it's like the earth saw her and what she needed to do. And you can say she was like orphaned for a moment there and having to cut them off. But the earth will come and fill in. Whenever you release something that doesn't serve you, the earth will come in and replace it with exactly what's meant to help you. So we are so supported in spirit. I can't even put it into words. Just when you try this work, you will experience it for yourself.
Wow, that's amazing. So how long does this take? Because it felt like it was just a day's work and it was over. She was done.
That what I just described with a client, that was one session. The session can be anything from 30 minutes to an hour. And so that was one session. So doing this work, it's literally hundreds of years of work in one session. That's the level but that's a level that human consciousness is now ready to receive. That's why we can do it.
Wow, it's amazing. So it's so quick. It's an easy fix. You're maybe suffering from this your whole life. And in one session, in 30 minutes, it's basically, in retrospect to your entire life, a blink of an eye, you changed your entire life. It's so powerful.
Absolutely. It is so powerful. The things that happen after these sessions for my clients are profound. And some of them, and it varies, right? But it's everything that happens as a consequence of this work is supposed to. So it can vary from family secrets coming to the surface after these sessions. It can be, oh my God, I feel amazing. It could be, I feel so tired. I just needed to sleep for like 2 or 3 days after that session. It can be, oh my God, my family got in the biggest family feud after that session out of nowhere. Like, what was that? All kinds of strange things happen when I start doing this work with clients. I had one client who we did work on for her son. He didn't have to be present in the session, but we did work for her son. And her son basically worked out this lineage thing with his father, who he had never met his father. Similar story to myself. And we did the session, and the very next day he wakes up and he asks her about his dad, and he had never done that before.
Wow.
So these things, they crack open the truth because the human consciousness needs to understand who and what it is fully to fulfill its purpose. Even if mom's side isn't great, even if dad's side isn't great, that's still the child's truth to know. And when you know your truth, this is how you operate in your highest light, in your highest frequency, on your highest timeline, no matter what the truth is.
I love this because I strongly believe we all are a product of mom and dad's side, and we feel whole when we have both. But if you're missing information from one side, you feel like you're not whole. Or even if you know both sides, but one side is talking bad about the other, you bring this ultimately to yourself because you feel like, I'm not good enough. This part in me is not good enough. And you start rejecting this. And this is amazing to remove this through this work. It's really, really powerful.
Yes. And the reclamation is powerful. Like, we're in the reclamation phase of understanding who and what you really are. Now you get to be the highest expression of your genetic code that no one has accessed before. And that's how I live. I live in that expression. I travel the world. I'm a digital nomad. I launch my programs. I help people all around the globe. Like, this is my real life. I'm a little And I think back on it and it's like, I'm just a little girl from East LA. I'm just like a little girl from like the hood. And now look at what I'm able to accomplish because I did all of my energetic work, because I did the lineage work, become deconditioned, because I committed to my growth. And now all these beautiful things are now possible. And I get to be the finished expression of what my parents both wished they could do. My biological dad always wished he could travel around the world. That was like one of his biggest things. My mom always wished she could be financially free. And now I'm literally the merge. I'm the exact two glued together in alignment. And then boom, like now you can live your fullest expression. It's all inside you. It's so natural.
I'm so happy for you. So you were like, as soon as you remove this, you feel instantly better, or does it take a couple of days, or how does it work?
It takes numerous sessions. I will say for the biggest breakthroughs, like to where I'm operating now, which is financially free, sovereign, working nice, launching my programs, creatively in touch with myself, able to think something, have a download and be like, oh, I'm going to do it, right? Executing my deepest desires, that takes some time. But with, a few sessions, like I do courses on this. My courses are typically 8 to 9 weeks long, right? So think that's like 8 to 9 of these sessions. You make some serious change. You make some serious headway in your personal development in that amount of time.
Oh, this is amazing. So in this course, do people learn how to do it from themselves, or are you guiding them and you doing it more or less actually?
It's a mixture of both. So in the beginner course, I am doing it for them the first couple of weeks, and then we pivot and I teach you how to do it for your clients, for the other. And you're still getting the work done yourself too. So you learn how to rep in the work because there are representatives in this work. You learn how to facilitate. You learn how to be the client, sit back, watch and observe. You learn the different roles within the work. And for those who don't want to do the course, I offer just the healings and clearings as well, because some people aren't necessarily going to want to go out and teach this or want to know. And those who do, I love teaching. But I also, for those who just know they need the clearings, I do that as well, which is why I incorporate it so much in my business course as well. Because when you're trying to launch something new, anything new, a business venture, a project, a creative something, have a baby, your family's changing, you got married. This work is so crucial for those points in time because you're going to get triggered. Things are going to come to the surface, both good and bad. And when you can get your reins on them and learn how to use it for your benefit, you're going to evolve. Oh, it's just such a smoother ride. It's so much more powerful. You gain so much more out of your process. It's like you can absorb more nutrients from these situations. Your body can take in more. You can handle more. You can hold more light. It's really powerful.
I love this. Plus, in my head, it was like, okay, if I would marry, I don't want to bring my baggage of ancestor problems to him for exchange. And if I get a child, oh my God, do I want to give this child like as a welcome gift? Here's your baggage.
That is exactly why I tell people to do this work, because the goal, I love children. I love kids. It's a big part. Before I was doing the work I do now and in the healing space, business coaching, all this stuff, ancestral alignments, I always worked with kids since 18, literally 18 until 28, literally a decade.
Mm-hmm.
So always worked with kids. I believe that all children deserve the chance to start from a clean slate. And most of the children on the planet right now are not being born into that. That's okay. But we're seeing where we as humans need to grow. And when we do this work, we give our children a shot at life that we never had. And that's what every generation, if you're succeeding generationally, every generation is doing a little bit better than the last one. And I believe this generation right now, the yous and I's, are making leaps and bounds energetically beyond what our ancestors could do. So this is all for the next generation coming in. It's for the earth. This gives back in so many ways. To me, this work is part of spiritual ecosystem. Like everyone, in my opinion, needs to do ancestral work, just like everyone should move their body, just like we all should eat healthy food, right? Everyone needs to ancestrally do a clean sweep, get those clearings done, and really allow your children, your descendants, the best shot at life.
Oh, this is so beautiful. You said this so amazingly. It resonated so deeply with me. So it's
Yeah.
not just that you're taking care of your next generation, but ultimately you're taking care of the entire world. Because if everybody does this, we are creating a better world.
Yes. And the other thing about this too is when one person does this kind of work, have you heard of the 100th monkey syndrome?
No.
So there's like studies done where monkeys of the same species were taken to do separate parts of the world. And they taught the monkeys in one part of the world how to do one thing, like use a specific tool.
Yeah.
And then the monkeys all of a sudden on the other side of the globe picked up all of a sudden, randomly out of nowhere. Now they knew how to use that tool when they were never given instructions. So that applies to human consciousness and spirit and awakening. When one person on the planet does this level of healing, we open up the realm of consciousness to receive the same lesson in so many other lives, to understand how to operate with that same newfound wisdom that now we have. Now it's energetically shared with with the entire species.
And this is going back to what we said earlier. You found the switch.
Yes, exactly.
Because you found the way to turn it on. It's so incredible.
Mm-hmm. No junk DNA here. No junk DNA here. So see, like, this is where it becomes really profound and where I love talking about these things, because it's like we're doing work on ourselves, but is it ever on ourselves? That's always the question that comes up in ancestral alignments because it's so global. You know, this is why I see every human being as a library, because I'm in awe of people because they don't even see themselves.
Yeah.
And I can see so much in people, their potential, their pain. This is why I do business coaching, because I see the highest potential of the soul and I see exactly the darkest parts of them that are holding them back from that high potential. So I just like walk around all day like, wow, look at that person, their gifts. Wow, look at that. Like, and every person is a human library. When you start to access the information they hold in their genetic code, it's so powerful. We're all just a wealth of information, of knowledge, of history. We're talking about human history. Like we're just human history walking around.
Yes. That's such a nice way to see it and to look at it. I heard once somebody say, we are only the version we are accepting to be. This is our lowest version we can be. There's so much more out there, but we're restricting
Yes.
ourselves by not doing the work. And it's so wonderful that you said you're doing it not for you, you're doing it for everybody, because there's this weird thought that people believe working on yourself, self-love, self-care, self-improvement would be selfish. But is it really selfish?
No.
No, it's not. It's for everybody.
It is.
Everybody's benefiting.
It is. And we need those few right now, those few who are rebels. I like to call like the people who are on this frequency, we're rebels. We're not believing in the system that was taught to us anymore. We know something's off. We know it's wrong. We know it's not fulfilling. We know that's not how we're supposed to live. We know we deserve better. We know we're meant to create better. We have this innate knowing, and we need as many of us as possible to hold the frequency of what real freedom takes. And I have freedom now, but you also have to understand, hopefully from this conversation, you really get it. All that it took to get here, all that it took to clear, all the pain that I had to acknowledge to reach this level of freedom. It's not the simplest thing. And it's exactly what the matrix is meant to distract you from. But the moment you hunker down and you dig your heels in the ground, you say, I'm doing this, I'm focusing on myself, I'm going to heal this stuff, I'm going to get through it. You will. And your life will transform in the most powerful ways.
I love this. It's true. Healing is a dirty journey, and you have to get really down and dirty. Nobody really wants to this. I don't know a single person who's like, I enjoyed healing. It was so much fun. It was like going to Disneyland. It really isn't. But you either get called out for it, and I feel like your soul knows you can handle it, and it will tell you when it's time. So
Yes.
you are called for this. I do have another question. Since this is an intense work, are there any negative things that could happen? Do your ancestors have like I don't know, I don't want to say power to harm you, but do they still be able to influence your life negatively when you decide, I want to heal, I don't want this, I want to remove them?
Oh, that's such a good question. The answer is funny. It's a yes and a no. So sometimes you have an angry ancestor on the other side who did who knows what, right?
Mhm.
This happens to me all the time, by the way. Sometimes before I do incredibly powerful clearings on particularly mad ancestors, they like to drop in and give a little visit the night before.
Oh, they're coming to visit you.
Yes, me as the facilitator.
Oh.
Mhm. Because I'm the portal in which they're clearing out, right? I have the wisdom, I have the sight, I can see them. So they get a little upset sometimes. We do trigger some ancestors on the other side, I'm not gonna lie. We step on some toes, but it's needed. So sometimes I get visited, and so will the clients. Sometimes I'll get visited the night before. They try to come and do trickster things, give you nightmares, break stuff. I always tell people I accidentally break glass all the time before I clear out like a really dark curse or a really pissed off ancestor on the other side. Glass just breaks around me. I'm like, oh, something breaks. I'm like, oh, okay, that clearing tomorrow is about to be really powerful. That's how I know.
Wow.
Because they try to agitate the field. And people know this. My clients are like, oh my God, you told me I was going to experience XYZ resistance before I started to do work with you. I tell my clients this all the time because there are lineages and there are spirits. There is dark energy that doesn't want you to connect with people like me. So they will try to stop you. They will give you lots of resistance. They'll even make you not like me. And people like me sometimes as well. So I see all these nasty little things they try to plant in people. But once it's gone, you'll get it. You'll complete. It makes perfect sense why all of that happened. So many of them do not go willfully. The angry ones, anyways. And yes, there can be. It tends to be more energetic stuff like that in the field. It could be like this seemingly like, that glass just like broke, or I had a really funny nightmare, or I feel really exhausted. Or I'm like so angry and I can't explain why. Like, why am I this mad? I have to clear a lot of shame around clients for this very reason, because they're feeling things that are not theirs. It's the ancestors. They think they're mad at me or their partner or their someone. And it's the energy of the ancestor finally moving out, but it can kick up. Remember, it can kick up dust before it clears.
Wow. So once you cleared everything, do you have to protect yourself so nothing else is coming back, or is it gone forever?
Here's what I love about ancestral alignments. I've not seen another method do this. When you do the healing on your lineage, you invoke a higher level of protection from spirit and your ancestors that couldn't protect you before, because you were in the mix of the chaos and the karma. Once it's cleared, boom, more protection, more clearing, more protection, more clearing, more protection. It just happens naturally because of how the earth energy works and because of how good karma works too. Remember, karma is not all bad. When you start doing this work, you accrue a bunch of good karma, a bunch of blessings. Some of them happen immediately, some of them happen down the road, but it's all because of this work.
Beautiful. Yes, I love that you highlight, because I focused on the negative ancestors, but there are so many really light and beautiful ancestors there as well. But it's like with a bully in the kindergarten. One bully is pushing down all the nice and lovely children, and they just powerless.
Yes, exactly. You clear that out of the way and you naturally invite in all that's right there. It's all right there. It's all accessible to you. So this is why, because I've been through incredibly dark things and dark projections and curses from other people numerous times in this lifetime. What has kept me protected is my connection to spirit, my connection to my ancestors, my connection to my spirit guides, my higher self. This is the ultimate protection. And then really ultimately doing right by these clearings, meaning if I'm clearing a pattern and something really profound comes through as like now a new option, a new opportunity, a new way for my life to flow in the future that I know I want, I'm going to go get that. Now I'm going to go and act in alignment with that thing because that's how I continue to correct the karma is through action. It's not just clearing. Now we've cleared. Now we've created the opening. Are you going to go through the opening? Is the point of action. That's why we have bodies. We have bodies to do physical stuff on the planet to move energy for good and create new paradigms. So when you're living a life like that of truth, where you walk through the new portal of opening that you create for yourself continually, no matter the fear, you are infinitely blessed. You operate with a level of protection that does not need re-upping. It does not need you to continually smudge, even though I love Palo Santo and I love burning things, don't get me wrong. But you know what I mean? It's like you are the protection. You're the walking protection at that point.
Awesome. So amazing. Where can people find you? Because you opened a lot of people's heart right now, I feel like, and they are, if they're like me, they're really attracted and they resonate with your method. So where can they find you?
Yes. They can find me on Instagram at Candice Rebollo, CandiceRebollo. I'll share that link with you and you can find me in my programs. The next thing I'm launching is Illuminate Your Rebellion, which is all about understanding what your course program coaching is for all of my spiritual and soulpreneurs and people who have these modalities and health things that they want to birth onto the planet. I really help that process and clear the blocks in the way to help you birth these things. Because we know birthing can be very triggering, right? When we're creating an offering and then selling and putting our soul out there and being seen. And it could be so daunting. But it's really what the earth has aligned me to as my mission. It's so fulfilling. It's so powerful. It took a lot to get here. And then I'll also be creating a couple of things. So I've done my ancestral alignment certifications numerous times. I'm going to revamp that course in the coming month or two. And I'm going to create a small container, like a 4-week container coming soon for just the ancestral clearings. There won't be a course. So if you don't want to get certified, you don't have to. It's just going to be basically workshop style. You come, I clear you with this method. We do it as a group. It's so much fun. It's so powerful. It's so activating. You get to rep in other people's lineages. They get to rep for you. You see how this work really works. And even without all of this quote unquote experience, you see how every single person is a conduit for huge change, huge upgrades, how tapped in we truly all are without even needing to force it or try. So that offering is going to be coming in the couple months too. But for those who are looking for soulpreneur guidance and birthing a program, coaching, etc., that's available right now. And I do these clearings with you one-on-one in that program too.
Awesome. It's all online? Even the 4 weeks?
It's all online. Yes, it's all online. You can find me at CandiceRebollo.com as well. And my Instagram really is the best place to reach me though. So find me on Instagram, share with me how this was for you or any questions you have for me. I love connecting with people who find me on podcast.
Oh, I love this. And I really like this that you said you're cleaning out things that hold you back when you build your business. Because I know it's sometimes you feel like, why is it not coming? Where's no money coming? And it's maybe an ancestor who just isn't on board with what you're doing.
Yes, totally. Building a business has to be one of the most triggering things. This is why a lot of people back down. They know they want it. They know they want the like freedom. They know they want the like travel like I can do, but then they get so hung up and procrastinate. And I know because I've been through it. I've been the same way myself. I know because I lived it. It's so hard to push through building a business while you're going through ancestral healing, while you're going through inner child like wounding and then still trying to like build the email list and like trying to do all the tangible things it can be so difficult. But in this program that I've created, it's a step-by-step process. I take you through week by week, very different things so that by the end, you have a program that you're ready to launch, the messaging behind it, knowing exactly the steps that you need to take to acquire your clients, the messaging that's going to resonate with them, that they need to hear, the exact problems you solve. We go so deep. And then in that process, to be able to clear you out one-on-one, it's like I created what I wish I had always had. And I've done so much coaching. This is how I know. And I've always had to do such extensive work on myself as I was doing the coaching. And I'm like, duh, I'm supposed to put this together so everyone has what I needed. I had to like figure it out and stumble as I went. No, this is an offering I'm meant to give others. So I'm so excited about this. Like I'm launching it the first group call is this Sunday on the 24th, November 24th. And it's going to be open enrollment. So I'm starting with a new, the first round right now, but you can join whenever you would like.
Thank you so much. And I can feel the fire you're having for this. And I'm really happy that you shared all this wisdom. And of course, I wish you everything well and only blessings. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rebecca. You're the sweetest. Thank you.
As we wrap up this enlightening episode, I hope you found our conversation with Candice Rebollo as insightful and inspiring as I did. You can find all the details on how to connect with Candice in the show notes. Be sure to explore her incredible work. I'd love to invite you to our Vibrant Soul Desire podcast Facebook group. It's a friendly space where we share insights, support each other, and deepen our spiritual journeys together. I'd be thrilled to see you there. If today's episode resonated with you, make sure to subscribe so you're always updated on our latest soulful explorations. We release a new episode every Monday, and I'm so incredibly excited to continue this journey with you. Your support truly warms my heart. If you enjoyed what you heard today, leaving a review would mean the world to me and help others discover our amazing community. Thank you so much for being a part of the Soul Desire family. I genuinely appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, keep shining and embrace the magic of your journey.